afternoon. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, Abundance Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Sometimes we're just a little bit intimidated about spices and herbs. Don't be. It's easy, I tell you. You have fresh herbs in the summertime, and I like to dry mine, so I've got them all winter long. It's kind of like keeping a sense of summertime in the kitchen during those long winter months, you know, when it's so cold, you can't go outside, you can't do anything you want to do because it's too cold. So we're going to talk about, first part of the show, the last one, part one, where we're talking about a number of awesome products that you can have, and that's allspice. I like that around the Thanksgiving time. It's really, really good. Just a little bit, a little pinch. Some people kind of overdo it, but you can use some in pumpkin pie, even sweet potato pie. Basil makes a grand pesto, and I like to get basil and kind of break it up because those little oils, the natural oils, come out of it, and I put it in my water. So when I'm outside working or I'm just out and about doing something, I got my bottled water, I stick some of those basil leaves down in there, and it's very refreshing. And you also, I didn't mention this on the last show, on part one, that basil is also good for breath. I mean, if your breath's kind of bad, maybe you just had some onions with on your hot dog or whatever, it's real good for your breath. Cardamom is a spice, and that's really strong, and it's pungent as well. Just a little dab's going to do you on that. Cayenne pepper, so many things you can do. Cayenne pepper is good with chocolate. Yeah, it's super good. And it's good for you. By the way, if you have a really bad cold, you can make a concoction with this cayenne pepper, and it will break down those, that phlegm you can get in your throat, or if you have allergies, or if you just have asthma, those kinds of things. Cayenne pepper is really good to help knock that out. And so what I like to do is get a little vinegar and put some honey in it, put some cayenne pepper in there, mix that up, and it'll knock whatever it is out. Put a little bit of peppermint candy in there too. We also talked about cilantro, how good that is for you. You can use cilantro in so many different dishes. It's real good in soups, and it kind of gives soups a real freshness. And it's, if you have a recipe that calls for boring vegetables, put some cilantro in there. It's going to spice it up. Cinnamon, I use that for whatever ails me. Cinnamon is good for absolutely everything. Tell you something, I make fudge every year for Christmas and for Thanksgiving. And everybody says, I used to have like the best fudge. And I'll say, would you think, do you taste the cinnamon in it? It's just enough to give a hint. Cinnamon and fudge is good. And I got this real easy recipe for fudge. You get powdered sugar, a stick of butter. You want to melt the butter first, and then you want to get a pound of powdered sugar, put that in there. Put a touch, I'm talking just a touch, like an eighth a teaspoon of your cinnamon, grind up cinnamon, and put that in it, mix it up, put it in the microwave for about a minute, and that kind of cooks the sugar just a little bit. Put it in a buttered dish, best fudge you'll ever have. Put some pecans with it, that's really good too. Chives, we talked about that. I've raised that in the house. I have chives all year round, and I have it facing the south. I've got this big sliding glass window door, and so I keep it right there. I'm constantly trimming that down, and I am actually, in the summertime and wintertime, I'm always drying chives. Good for everything. It's really good on the baked potato. We talked about cloves. We also talked about cumin. We talked about dill. I use dill on everything. Dill is real good in salads. And I like to save the seeds. The seeds are good in your slaw recipes. Real good. Garlic. We talked about garlic just a few minutes ago. And so now, okay, I just sneezed. So what I've done, I just sneezed. So this will be a commercial break. You'll take the sneeze out and the commercial break out.
So just use the commercials before I stop right there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There'll be 2 commercial breaks. It'll be the first one you take out. Okay? Okay. So let's talk. Oops. Okay, so let's talk just for a minute about ginger root. This is what ginger root looks like. And let's see, let me find it. I think it's right there. Yeah, there's ginger root. And it has kind of a yellow looking tint to it as you break it open. So ginger root it's kind of a root, or it's a stem, more like a root of the ginger plant. And you can consume it fresh, you can dry it, and in its oil or powdered form. Now it's kind of pungent and it's spicy flavor, and it complements anything Chinese cuisine, recommended to cleanse the palate. It's also used in herbal teas. I'm having to tell you, I love it, but let me show you something else you can do. Buy your ginger. It only costs about $3 for a pack like this. Now you can get other ginger that's a little cheaper, but I like this because it's organic. I'm not going to ever have to buy ginger again. Give it to friends and let them plant it. So this is what you do. Here's the bottom of the root right here. So that's the ginger, and that's the bottom of the root right there. Okay, if you'll get the ginger root and stick it, and you put a little bit of root compound on it, it's a little powdered form, it's in a tiny little jar about like that. And that, by the way, this rooting compound lasts absolutely forever. So you'll put just a little bit of that and just dip it in that and put it in water and watch it grow. It's going to grow some really real good roots right there. And then later on, put it out in your garden, put it in a pot, and you'll have more ginger than you know what to do with. I really love ginger. Ginger is so good for you. It's good to grate it up and put it in salads. And not everybody likes the taste of ginger, but I'll have to tell you this, everybody likes ginger ale, right? Yeah, it's got a little bit of that in there. So if you're going to buy it, and you would like to plant it, then you can buy it at the farmer's co-op. It's going to cost you more. Buy it in the grocery store, and you'll buy the organic ginger, and you'll find that that goes a long way. Let's talk just for a minute about mint. Mint is so good for you. It's very refreshing. And you know, they use it in chewing gum, mint chewing gum, and it pairs well with other flavors, including chocolate mint smoothies, and also those fizzy blueberry mint drinks. Along with its value in numerous recipes, the herb also provides an extensive number of health benefits. Oh, I love mint. Mint is, now let me tell you the only thing about raising mint. Okay, make sure you keep it contained somewhere, because what happens is it's invasive. It will be everywhere. I mean, this thing just explodes and goes all over the yard. So, and I didn't know that the first time I planted it many years ago. Young, ignorant, didn't know. So I got this one little mint plant. It was called chocolate mint. And man, it was good. It's good in ice cream and smoothies and that kind of thing. So I buy this one tiny, tiny little plant of mint. Yeah, that little thing right there that looks so innocent, it is absolutely going to take over the whole garden and your entire yard. I was forever pulling mint out of the yard. I mean, it was just growing really wild all over the place. So it's best to have a big pot and put that mint in a big pot and just let it go. Now I put my mint in the garden. I like mint with anything with a tomato, desserts, whatever. Ice cream sherbet is real good. Just get some mint leaves and just cut it up in there. It's good in your water. I mean, it tastes super good. Okay, let's talk just for a minute now about nutmeg. This kind of looks something from another planet, doesn't it? It's kind of weird looking, but it is so, so good for you. Where there's cinnamon, there's often nutmeg, right? So you've got cinnamon that you like to use in your, say, your pumpkin pies, your sweet potato pies. You've got to have nutmeg. And it's very flavorful. But now let me tell you the thing about nutmeg is a little dab will go a long way when you use that. I mean, it's just really kind of overpowering. When I say a pinch, I literally a pinch. Whereas I might use a full tablespoon of cinnamon, just a pinch of nutmeg. So it's real good in all kinds of pies and all kinds of spices. You know, there's a cake recipe. I used to make that a long time ago, just now thought about it. It's called the nutmeg cake. And you can Google it. It's the made from scratch cake. So what you can do with your nutmeg, you can put sweet potato in it if you want to, and then put a little bit of nutmeg, and it's really good with walnuts in it. The black walnuts or whatever kind of walnuts you'd like to get, but nutmeg and walnut is a must. Now we're going to talk just a little bit about oregano. Then we'll go into a commercial break. Oregano, more like yes. Oregano is commonly stocked in the pantry. You gotta have that. And it offers an accelerated, very fresh flavor to a wide variety of foods. You can add oregano to sauces and dressings, salads, and poultry. Not just poultry, well, I gotta have it in my chicken. And this is what you can do. If you want to grill a chicken, I'll tell you how to do it. So you need to put some butter, get some melted butter, about a half cup is all you need. Melt it in the microwave, and then you'll get either fresh oregano or you can get the dried. Either one works. Now remember this about fresh versus dried. If you use fresh, you don't have to use this. You use a whole lot more fresh than you would the dried, in other words. The dried, so let's say your recipe calls for 1 tablespoon of oregano, and it says fresh oregano. Okay, use 1 tablespoon or 1 teaspoon or tablespoon or whatever. You want to half that if you're going to use the dried. And what happens is once that mixes and it gets in there with your oils and it gets in there with the butters, it explodes. It has a real good taste to it. But I absolutely love it. I like adding oregano to, again, poultry dishes are real good. Salads, any of the dried herbs, if you'll just get them and just do like this with your hands. Just kind of rub your hands together with the dried herbs and just sprinkle it all over your salad. It tastes really good. So that's just a good thing. Let's cut to a commercial break and we're going to be right back in just a minute. So y'all hang in there, okay? At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for 2 or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319, and let's think of the possibilities.
Okay, we are back. My name is Donna, and I am your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182, on Charter Communications and Abundance Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You can also find us on the podcast, netnewsnetwork.net. We talked about parsley just a few minutes ago, or we talked about oregano, so now we're going to be talking about parsley. Now there's your oregano, there's your parsley. Now you can get parsley curled or you can get it flat leaf. I like either way, and if you want to put it in salad, it kind of hugs onto your salad dressing a little bit better than the flat parsley does. So you can chop it fresh or dried, and it has this real spring-like flavor. And you can add it to stocks, you can add it to stews, you can add it to soups. You can also dress this herb with a number of dips. Parsley dip is great. It complements various casseroles along with so many different parsley recipes. And I'm going to tell you, it's one of my go-tos as well. Now, the best thing to do with parsley, that you can break it into pieces with your fingers, and that's good. But I like to chop it. I can chop it up into finer pieces if I do it that way. And there's something about the knife, it seems to bring the oils out. And this is another good thing you can put in your ice water. Yeah, and it tastes super good. Now, I'm going to talk about something right here. It's called rosemary. Okay, rosemary, this was a terrible winter for rosemary. I lost a lot of it. As a matter of fact, a whole lot of people, even farms, lost because it's kind of a woodsy-like plant. It's kind of a cousin to the pine tree. And it pairs really good with eggs, potatoes. Oh, and it's a must-go-to right there for steak. If you're cooking steak, you need to chop it up real good and put it in there. It's also really good if you want to do sirloin skewers and you want to put those out on the grill. It loads it down with flavor and has about 29 grams of protein per serving. And I'm going to tell you, it's really good, but I'll tell you something else you can do when you're cooking out, because rosemary is kind of, like you said, it's a woody-like. And so I ordered some rosemary, by the way, through Amazon. Click on that link right there and then just type in rosemary. It's the only place I've been able to find it. I've not been able to find it at any of the local nurseries. So I did find it, and Amazon protects your plants when they send them. They were in this plastic. I ordered 4 plants. By the way, it's going to blossom out into all kinds of stuff. But they were in kind of this packaging with plastic, and it was kind of coated. It was covering it. It was hugging it. Is basically what it was doing. And it gets to me, and it's not dried out. I was worried about that. I thought, oh no, I've never ordered a plant like that online. But it's Amazon will take real good care of you if you order any kind of plants through them. So they came in a box. Nothing was upset. The plant was still intact. It was still in the pot. So they're going ahead and order that. Now let's get back to rosemary again. Rosemary is good if you cook it out. Yeah, let me here's what you can do. So if you have some overgrown, maybe just a little bit too big, maybe stems, and it's a little more woody than you'd like, and you really don't want to eat it because it's just a little bit too woody. What you can do is get the stems and put them in the fire, and it gives this really great aroma to your cookout. So if you're cooking out burgers and you put some of those rosemary limbs in there, they're real good burgers. I'm going to give you one of Phil's secrets. Don't tell him, okay? So I told you about this. He cooks out really good hamburgers. So this is what he does. We don't like a lot of pink in the middle of our burgers. So he'll go ahead and put it up in a patty, gets his thumb, and right in the middle of that patty, he presses his thumb down. That serves us two different ways for a great burger. First of all, it's going to cook all the way through. You're not going to have all that red in the middle. So it'll cook without having to burn it on the edges, on the, all around the circle. It cooks it real good in the middle. Another thing it'll do is if you put barbecue sauce in it, it cradles your barbecue sauce. Turns out really good. So if you're cooking out and you have some old rosemary stems, hold on to those, put them under the grill, put it on there by the fire. Real good. Real good burgers. Okay, so let's go on ahead and we talked about the rosemary right there. Oh, by the way, there's some pretty blooms that come on those as well. And bees love rosemary. So let's talk about this spice right here. It's called saffron. It's kind of hay-like, and it's really sweet, and it offers a vibrant yellow-orange to a number of cuisines. It just looks pretty. The use of saffron ranges, it's real good in shrimp recipes. And putting anything that has lemon, buttermilk pie is real good with saffron in it. And saffron is probably one of the most expensive spices that you can have. Saffron is real good. Back in the olden days, they used to use saffron, and a lot of these spices, people actually use them as money, and I thought about that. So we're all kind of concerned about what's going to happen to the dollar. I'm hanging on to spices because this is what I've noticed about life. Life cycles. Because so back in the olden days, 2,000 years ago, people actually used spices as money, and they would use it to barter with. And so it's just a real good tool right there. But saffron is one of your go-tos. You really, really do need your saffron. And again, it goes in all kinds of, anything that has buttermilk. There's a buttermilk cake that's a real easy recipe. And so this is what my grandmother used to use. Now, she didn't use the saffron in it, but let me tell you how it makes it a good cake. So what you want is 2 cups of flour. It can be your self-rising flour, just as easy. You want 1.5 cups of sugar. You want to mix that up together, okay? You're going to need 1 cup of buttermilk, and then keep the buttermilk handy because you may have to add a little bit more. You're going to add 1 stick of melted butter to it. You want 3 eggs. If it's from your own girls, that's even better. So put your eggs into this cake recipe. Mix it up really well. If you have saffron, if you'll add this, just about a teaspoon. You can even put a little bit less in there if you want to be conservative with it, because it is an expensive spice. Put about a teaspoon, half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of saffron in that cake. Bake that cake, and oh my goodness, it's very moist. It's just a good old homemade cake, and you can use that instead of using your vanilla flavoring if you'd like. Okay, so we talked about saffron. You know something else I want to talk to you about? There we go, there with the rosemary, there's the saffron, there's sage. Sage I have to have sage growing in my herb garden every single year. I love sage. You know, I grew up not liking dressing. You know, you have chicken and dressing, you have, your ham and dressing and all. I just didn't like it. But I love dressing now when you use fresh sage. It makes all the difference in the world. So and it's a pretty plant too. It's kind of the sister of rosemary, and sage is kind of perennial. It's woody herb, and it has these gray-green leaves on it, and they feel good. I mean, you touch them and they're kind of soft-like. So the sage leaves mostly complement fish and poultry dishes, but various soups and sausages, it's real good in any kind of a recipe, I think. I put it in everything. I like to dry my sage. So here's what I do. I'll go ahead, you got to clean it, okay? And so put it on a paper towel, let it kind of air dry. couple of things you can do. You can leave it on the stem and just hang it upside down with the rubber band, and just hang it upside down, and it'll take a few weeks for it to happen, but it'll dry that way. That's probably the best way. You'll preserve most of the oils in the sage if you do it that way. You can also stick it in the microwave. Now, you'll lose a little bit of that oil content if you do that, but that's another quick way you can do it. You also put it in the food dehydrator. Again, you'll lose a little bit of that oil content. You'll know it's ready to put in the jars. It needs to be completely dried. Otherwise, it can mold. So all you'll do, get a bowl, get those sage leaves and throw them in that bowl. Get your hands and rub your hands together like that. And there go all of the sage leaves. And it's so good to put in dressing. Chicken and dressing loves it. And if you want to, another good thing is your chicken. So if you like to grill your chicken, take it out on like a whole chicken, maybe the rotisserie type. Using sage and and rosemary is also good inside a chicken as well. Oregano is super good inside a chicken too. So if you want to do the rotisserie style chicken, that's the way you do it right there. Okay, we're going to have to hurry. There's tarragon, and so let's talk about tarragon. There's my sage, and there's tarragon. And it's kind of a slendery looking, it's got this really distinctive flavor. It's kind of like licorice. And the tarragon leaves, they're an edible herb, pairing it often with fruit. It's real good eating it with peaches and maybe apples. Poultry is good with it, seafood and sauces. Now let's go in and talk just a bit about thyme. Now thyme is used in fresh and dried forms. Now thyme also offers a subtle, but it's kind of savory note to a number of soups, your stews, and your roasted dishes. In addition to rosemary and the skewer recipe that you can find online anywhere, thyme absolutely complements any kind of a meat product. I mean, thyme is, you got to go with that, okay? So some people just throw the whole stem in there, and then they'll take it out with the soup. That's if you're making it soup. Now this is the last one, and this is probably one of my favorite ones, and it's turmeric. Let me tell you the trick about turmeric. It's really bright yellow colored. It's kind of orangey like spice, and it's mostly known for its warm, bitter taste in curry dishes. The spice can be added to egg scrambles and rice dishes, tossed with roasted veggies, or you can mix it into soups and even into smoothies. So this is what I do every single morning. Okay, so I have my apple cider vinegar, and this is another thing. You need blueberry tea. So I make this little concoction for filling me every day, and it gives us energy. It's like a boost of sunshine, okay? So you want to make your tea out of your blueberry leaves, okay? Make about a cup of it. Then what you're going to do is put some of your turmeric in it, just about a quarter teaspoon, won't take much. You'll turn orange if you eat too much turmeric. So literally, you will turn orange. So you'll put that in there, put a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of your honey from your favorite beekeeper who lives close to you. That's a must as well. And then you'll want to stir that up really good. And I have one of those little skewers that I use that mixes up real good, because the turmeric doesn't want to mix well. So we drink that every single morning. Put a little bit of cinnamon in there too. And it's so very good for you. And I want to keep you healthy, because I want to keep you around for a real long time. All of these recipes you can find. You can go to blog.mybalancemeals.com, and you'll find all of the information I just gave you about all these spices. Don't let spices intimidate you, for goodness sake. Spices are so good for you. And again, I want to keep you around for a real long time. Thank you so much for watching The Edge. My name is Donna, and I'm your host. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and you can also find us on Worldwide Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You can also find our podcast, netnewsnetwork.net. Thank you again so much for watching.